Oh, that music gets me every time. Hello and what is up, YouTube? It is Patch Notes night, right here, June, whatever date it is, 16th. Does it matter anymore? Does it really matter? June 16th, 2020. We are 2 days, 18 hours, 48 minutes, and 35 seconds away from PoE Harvest League being released. And we've got patch notes. So let's go tell our friends, our brothers and sisters of the Discord G3 family that we are live and we are good to go, because the long-awaited moment. You know, it's almost like you could compare it to having a child. You know, you gotta wait. You know the child is coming. You've got some expectations of what the child will be like. But it's not really until you get to hold your child that that moment is just special and unique. And that's kind of what patch notes and patch notes reading are like. You know, your child throughout their life is going to do things that excites you, that makes you proud, that makes you disappointed, that makes you upset, that makes you filled with joy. It redefines who you are as a person. You go from just one to two. There's more of you. Jerry Seinfeld has a line about this, that he says that fathers take on a whole new perspective in life, because once they start having children, they just go, well, to hell with the rest of the world, I can make new people. And that's what patch notes are like. We just go, you know what? Whatever the game was before this league, this is now going to be the new league. The new patch notes. The new edition, the new special moment as you hold and cradle those patch notes. So you can stop asking the question, patch notes when? Because patch notes, ladies and gentlemen, are now. Let's do this. How's that for an opening monologue? Those of you who are drinking tonight, I am drinking with you. Tonight I'm drinking some American root beer. Woohoo! So, it's got beer in the name, right? Now, if I was drinking alcohol tonight, there'd be no end to the stream. As the Beastie Boys once obnoxiously announced, don't stop till Brooklyn, right? Something like that. Something like that. Okay. No sleep till Brooklyn. That's right. That's what it is. Not don't stop. Man, there we go, with my karaoke skills once again. Alright, so let's update away. Let's update the video description. We've now got the forum thread of the patch notes down below in the video description. By the way, if you are new to the channel, let's see if I've got this set up right. I do! You can like, subscribe, and ding the bell to be notified about future video discussions just like this one. If you are a veteran of the channel, then you know the way how everything works. The patch notes are going to be listed down below in the video description for you to follow along if you'd like at any point in time. Also, any other various stuff that we reference, if we're looking at the Wikipedia, anything else that's helpful, we will jump over there and take a look at it. We'll include that in the video description for posterity's purposes. If you want to support the channel, you can use Super Chat. Super Chat is active via YouTube. You can also drop us a tip via PayPal. Or you can support us via Patreon. Okay, I think that's everything out of the way. So, one of the things that I like to do, and I do it every single patch notes, I'm not sure if you guys look forward to it, but I look forward to it, is I like to take all the patch notes and move them over onto a Google document to see exactly how many words this whole thing is going to be. So right now, I am not looking at any of the text. I'm just looking at the side scroll, and then boom, I'm going all the way to the top. There we go. Alright, content update 311 is now copy and pasting over into a Google document. How long did that take? Like 10 seconds. Okay, not too bad. Alright, and the moment of truth. Let's bring this thing over. The moment of truth. This is 26 pages long. 26 pages. You guys see that? 26 pages. Okay, so now let's compare this for just a moment. Where do I have my patch notes saved? I know I've got them saved somewhere. Maybe it's not on this G account. Let's see here. Word count. Where is it? There we go. Alright, you guys read it. I'm not looking yet. I'm not looking there. I'm looking at my other screen. Here we go. I've got the Delirium patch notes. I've got Blight patch notes. Alright, let's compare. Let's bring over Delirium. Let's bring over Metamorph. How big is this document exactly? And here's 3.8. Do I have any more? I don't think on this account, so I won't bug you with any more. But let's just take a look here. Where's my paint document? There we go. The beautiful. The bold and the beautiful. Alright, what do we got? We've got 3.8 was how much? 13,000. 13,000. Here, let's kill that one. 13,000. Blight. 13k words. That was Blight. Alright, what do we got for Metamorph? How much was that? 8k. Wow. And Metamorph, mind you, Metamorph was a full-on expansion. I believe Bex was gone for Metamorph. I believe she was taking time off with New Baby. So I don't think Bex actually wrote Metamorph. I could be wrong on that. Somebody correct me. I want to give credit to whoever is credit due. To whoever posted the Metamorph patch notes. Delirium was 10k. Delirium was 10k words. Wow. Alright, what do we got now for Harvest? 11,000 words. Alright. So, more than Metamorph and Delirium, but less than Blight. Is what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. Alright. So let's do it, huh? Patch notes when? Patch notes now. Alright, let's go full screen on this puppy. And let's have a good time tonight. If you guys are already doing drinking games or drinking memes, then you guys are just silly. Drink every time someone says nerf. Oh, K-Trim. We don't want to kill the whole streaming community, man. We don't want everybody to die. The amount of times I'm going to say nerf tonight is very high. Oh, man. Alright, ignore this. This is as is the G3 continuing ongoing tradition. We're ignoring the table of contents, because there's too many spoilers there. We're ignoring Harvest Challenge League. We all know all of that stuff. Major new content and features. Most of this stuff is stuff we've already covered, but we're going to go through it quickly here. Let's see if I can make this any bigger. Can you guys see that? Hopefully you guys can see that. Alright, major new content and features. Added a new strength skill, General's Cry. It performs a war cry taunting nearby enemies to attack the user and summoning Mirage Warriors from nearby corpses. The Mirage Warriors each use a linked attack skill before dissipating. And I believe we actually got to view that today. Yeah, we got to view that today. Alright, let's pull that up. Okay, guys, this is going to get nerfed within one league. This is going to be the new. This is going to be the new Mirage Archer. This is going to be the new Archmage. This is going to be the thing that they introduce, and then they nerf it. I'll tell you why in just a moment. This is a prediction that's sure to go wrong. 99% sure to go wrong. All right, the reason why they're going to nerf this after releasing it right away. Right away. They're going to release it right away, and then they're just going to nerf it. And they're... Wow, why can't I exit full screen? And the reason why they're going to nerf it is simply because it's too much quality of life. So there's two things going on here. First off, if you slow down attacks such that you incentivize players not to attack faster in Path of Exile, and then you give them a mechanic that allows them to repeat or mirror their same attack. We've seen this before. We've seen it now with the Savior, where you create copies and it's just massive damage. We've seen it with Mirage Archer. We've also seen it, in terms of the quality of life, with Winter Orb. When something has too much quality of life, and by too much I simply mean whatever it is that GGG looks at and says, nah, that's too good, they go in and they nerf it. So that's my prediction right away from the get-go. Is that a spicy enough prediction for you? Am I going out on a limb far enough for you guys? Some of you are just going to be like, Iron, you can just keep walking off that limb and drop off a cliff. All right, let's continue. Added a new strength skill gem, Intimidating Cry. Performs a war cry, intimidating nearby enemies and taunting them to attack the user, as well as exerting the user's next two attacks. Grants a buff which reduces the effects of enemy armor against your hits. Added a new strength skill gem, Seismic Cry. Performs a war cry, taunting nearby enemies to attack the user and exerting the user's next 4 slam attacks. Grants a buff which makes it easier for you to stun enemies. I can see this being played in group play. I could see that. Just the stuff that's going to attack, like to taunt, to attack a target, I could see that becoming more and more of a thing. Added a new strength skill gem, Ancestral Cry. Performs a war cry, taunting all nearby enemies to attack the user and exerting the user's next 8 strike attacks. 8 strike attacks? That's a fun one, guys. Grants a buff which gives you bonus armor and melee range. Yeah, so anybody using Molten Shell? Why not, right? I can see something with all these different cries that taunt. I can see a scenario where somebody's going to get a meme of a 6-man party, and they're going to stand 6 men, like, around Minotaur, and each one of them is going to sequentially, like, boop, 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 boop. Like, each one of us is just going to rotate our cooldowns and taunt Minotaur, and he's never actually going to be able to attack. Like, he's just going to be, who do I slam? Which one of you? I don't know. Hopefully not. But you guys have seen buggy stuff like that. We showed the build that bugged out. That was like a year ago or a year and a half ago. The build that got the Arakali's Fangs dagger fixed and reworked a little bit because the spiders were untargetable. And so you could just flood like a boss like the Minotaur with these spiders, and he wouldn't attack anybody because he couldn't pass through the spiders to get to you as a target, but he wouldn't target them. So you just stood there while they were all destroying him. Added a new strength support gem, Urgent Orders Support. Supports Warcry skills, making them faster to use, but lengthens their cooldowns. Okay. Nobody's going to want that. Well, maybe everybody will want it. How's that for going out on a limb? Nobody will use that. Maybe everybody will use it. Added a new intelligence strength skill gem. Penance Brand. Creates a magical brand which can attach to a nearby enemy. It periodically activates while attached, adding energy to the branded enemy. Each activation, energy spreads from each energized enemy to an enemy in range which is not synergized by the brand. If the brand enemy has 20 energy, each activation will instead deal a pulse of area damage. Why did I exit full screen? Why did I ever do that? Energy explodes when the energized enemy dies or the brand is removed. Yep. Okay, so this stuff is all stuff that we know. Wintertide brand. I have actually heard from a lot of you. And by a lot, I mean probably a few dozen. Yeah, at least a few dozen. I'm just looking at messages here on an old video. Yeah, I would say probably 3 or 4 dozen different people have brought this up, whether it's on Discord or on old messages, that this is what people are debating, whether or not they're going to go with a cold dot vortex occultist or if they're going to try to do Wintertide brand. Because it's a cold brand and everybody wanted a cold brand as soon as brands were announced. And as soon as we got a fire brand and a lightning brand, and then we didn't get a cold brand. Like, what? Why was that? Well, now we have a cold brand. When this brand is removed, a short duration debuff dealing the same damage over time and chill is applied to each nearby enemy. Added a new intelligence skill gem, Arcanist brand creates a magical brand which can attach to a nearby enemy. It periodically activates while attached, triggering linked spells. The brand will detach if the enemy dies. Yep. Totem boys. Sorry, y'all have been replaced by brands. Somebody's got to make an argument. Somebody who loves totems. This has been the meme. The meme of the last 48 hours. If you love totems, make an argument why it is that totems have a place in Path of Exile that is not occupied by brands. Why aren't brands just better totems? I'm waiting for somebody to make that argument. Maybe somebody will. Like, educate me, teach me. I don't know everything about PoE. Teach me. Added a new intelligence support gem, Swift Brand Support. Supports brand skills, causing them to activate more frequently, but reducing their duration. Alright, so Armageddon brand, boys. League starter, there you go. Go with Armageddon brand, make them activate more. Big hits. It's pretty good. Away you go. Added a new strength skill gem, Earth Shatterer. This is one that a lot of people are wanting to mess around with. Slam the ground, sending out shockwaves that damage enemies and end in spikes. These spikes can be detonated by any slam attack or war cry. Works with maces, scepters, axes, staves, and unarmed. Added a new strength support gem, Fist of War. Alright, we already covered that one. Reworked 3 war cries, we covered that. Added 14 unique items, one of which was designed by a supporter. Oh wow, so they still have a backlog of that. Because they killed that program a while ago. That was like a couple years ago that they killed that. They weren't taking any new items. Because they just had a backlog of new items that needed to be created by supporters who had already gone through that program. Rebalanced more than 50 existing unique items. And added 12 new divination cards. Alright, cool. I think I'm going to save my divination card whenever I finally wrap up my supporter packs. I think I'm going to save it for PoE 2. I don't know, though. I think that would probably be best. I would hate to do a div card and then have it be like somewhat obsoleted by whatever comes out with PoE 2. That's just my feeling on that at the moment. Minor new content and features. Alongside improvements made to Path of Exile's engine, we have changed the post-processing settings so that 2 specific ones are separately exposed, reducing the intensity of the new bloom effect and disabling blur effects, such as those played when transitioning in or out of an incursion. Great! Thank you for doing that. We've been asking for that since Incursion. Okay. We've also improved how screen shake effects, such as those played on a critical hit, are handled, toning down the wild variance and ensuring you can still always see the action. The new screen shake can be disabled in options if desired. I gotta ask you guys in chat, do any of you play with screen shake? Anybody? Bueller? I'm hearing crickets. I don't think anybody plays with screen shake. Added 2 new rogue exiles designed with the help of our talent competition winners. Oh, that's cool. Added new labyrinth enchantments for both new and rework skills. Oh boy, so it's even harder to hit whatever lab enchant you were hoping for. Well, maybe the Eternal Labyrinth will actually do something with that, right? Improved the visual effects of a number of players and monster skills, including Earthquake, Firestorm, Ground Slam, Ice Crash, Creeping Frost, previously Arctic Breath. They're giving Arctic Breath a new name? Okay. Perforate, all Warcry skills, Sunder, Molten Strike, Tectonic Slam, Incinerate, Arc, Herald of Ash, Arcane Cloak, Armageddon Brand, Orb of Storms, and Lightning Warp. That's a lot of visual effects. That's cool. Updated the frames on passive skill hovers to the ones created for Path of Exile 2. Ooh, that's kind of nice. Taunted enemies now have a more visible effect played on them. Okay, I like this because defensive abilities in Path of Exile oftentimes don't have a visual effect. You often don't know if you've got a defensive thing going on, if you've got a defensive effect going on, because there's nothing visual about it, right? When you use a Herald, you know that your Herald goes off because there's some awesome MTX explosion about it. When you use a specific skill, you can get an MTX effect or just a basic skill that already has effects on it, visual effects that tell you, hey, this is actually doing its thing. A lot of defensive animations in Path of Exile don't exist. Or they're so minute that it's really tough to pick up on them. So, by the way, if you're enjoying the stream, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button if you're a veteran of the channel, and if you're new, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ding the bell to be notified about future times when I will tell you how many words the patch notes are. Improve the behavior of pets playing their animations while deployed as a hideout decoration. Okay. Updated the visual surge effect played when casting an elemental spell. Spells with a Stygian effect applied now produce a Stygian surge around the player character when cast. That's cool. So my Stygian Volatile Dead, maybe I'll play one of those this league. Weapon skins from supporter packs can now be applied to both weapons when dual wielding. Oh, nice! So you don't have to be wearing a purple weapon in one hand and a golden weapon in the other. Added more music to the list of hideout music options. The default music for any particular hideout is now indicated. Nice. Added some missing dialogue for Zana's missions. Oh, that's interesting. Improved the Dragon Fireball visuals and reduced the flashing when they explode to make them easier on the eyes. Added an option to prevent other players from using your map device portals in your hideout. Really? Guys, that's actually really cool. Those of you asking about patch notes words, here's patch notes words. Blight was 13k, Metamorph was 8k, Delirium was 10k, Harvest is 11k. There, I'll put that down in the video description for anybody who wants it, for anybody who wants that minutia. Word count. Now I can just reference this video for the 3.12 patch notes, right? I won't have to look up all the other ones. Carpets in Solaris Temple tile sets now aligned to the doors. Improved how audio is handled for performance. Oh boy, I hope so. Continued to incrementally improve the sound, art, effects, and environments. Okay. I think this is probably one of the bigger impacting, like more widely impacting quality of life complaints that happens, especially if you trade a lot. Because what'll happen is you'll come out of your map, you'll sit there, you'll go to your stash. A lot of players put their stash near their portal, right? You'll put your portal, or you'll put your map device near your stash, so that way you don't have to walk throughout the entirety of your hideout to get to your stash as you come out of a map. And sure enough, a lot of players will accidentally click on your map device when they come to your stash. Now, some of you are going to say, just put your stash in a spot that's not near your map device. This isn't always because players are scamming and want to come through your map device, or come into your portal and use your map device. Although that's a thing as well. Paranda scams are a thing. People stealing particular, essences is a thing. So there's a lot of stuff out there there's a lot of shady scams that can happen just via map device portal accessibility from anybody in your hideout. So to me, that's actually pretty awesome. You're never going to lose another portal again to anybody accidentally coming into your hideout and clicking on your map portal. That's really cool. So they're nerfing scammers. Like, for as many players as who want to say, oh, GGG, supports scamming and let scamming go all over the place. Okay, you can make that argument, but the more quality of life stuff that comes out like that, the more you go, At least certain forms of scams are not getting through anymore. People coming in and stealing your stuff from your maps isn't going to happen anymore. Unless you don't have that option ticked. It's up to you as the player. Alright, Delirium mechanics have been added to the core game. Delirium has been added to the core game from the touch courts onward. You'll have approximately a 5% chance to encounter a Mirror of Delirium in each area. Wow! So that's going to be inside the story campaign even. That's cool. Once you reach the Atlas, that chance will increase by a small amount for each other League, Atlas, or Master mechanic that appears in your area. In other words, if your goal is to encounter Mirrors of Delirium, then you are encouraged to use your Zana modifiers, Master missions, Sextants, and whatever else you now have available to you. You'll now have a greater chance of finding cluster jewels through Delirium encounters proportional to the number of rewards you earn during that encounter. Okay. Character balance. The Shakari God Power no longer makes you immune to poison. RIP. It now causes poisons on you to have 50% less duration. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Katrim, who yesterday during the Balance Manifesto was kind enough to send me a reminder. Yeah, this is what Katrim said. He said you can still get poison immunity. The small Chaos Cluster Jewel has anti-venom. Look for that, and that will give you poison immunity. So unless that's nerfed and there's just no more poison immunity, you won't get it off the Pantheon power, but you can get it from there. Hexproof now acts like an immunity effect when gained, such as via Headhunter, and will remove any curses already present on you when gained. A lot of you have been memeing today, does this kill Self-Temp Headhunter? It doesn't really kill it, right? Because killing it would mean that it's always active. It means that there's going to be times where you're annoyingly going to grab Hexproof, and that's going to kill your Temp Chains and then kill your momentum in the map. Yes, that's annoying, but does it kill Headhunter as a powerful item? No. Does it kill Self-Temp Chains as a powerful combo with Headhunter? No. Does it make it slightly more obnoxious? Yes. Dual wielding no longer grants 20% more physical attack damage. It still grants 10% more attack speed and 15% chance to block attack hits. See ya, dual wielding. I really loved you when we could stat stick you. But, bye. Skill reworks. War Cries. Greater support for War Cries has been added to the passive skill tree in the form of new and changed clusters. War Cries no longer share a cooldown by default. Yep. Each War Cry is enhanced by the proximity of enemies, and for some War Cries, allies or corpses too. This is measured as power. Guys, in a game that has so many wordy stats, like cold dot multiplier, or cold damage over time, or physical hits against Impale, whatever that incredibly wordy thing is, they come out with a stat line that's just measured by power. That's just funny. With normal enemies providing 1 power, magic enemies providing 2, rare enemies providing 10. Wow, that's 2 hands. I'm going to have to go to the toes here in a moment if they give us more. Yeah, unique enemies providing 20. Wow, I'm wiggling my toes and my hands now. And players providing 5. All War Cries also taunt enemies in range. War Cries now cause a certain number of attacks to become exerted after the War Cry is used. Except Enduring Cry and General's Cry. However, the attacks done by the General's Cry Mirage Warriors are exerted. It's getting nerfed. General's Cry is so getting nerfed. Exerted attacks are enhanced in different ways depending on the War Cry. Your exerted attacks can benefit from the effects of multiple War Cries if the type of attack is valid. Okay, so we're going to have stacking War Cry builds here that just like make your exerted attacks boosted to wherever. That'll at least be one thing people try. Abyssal Cry, now called Infernal Cry, now taunts all nearby enemies to attack the user. Exerts the next 4 melee attacks. It also covers enemies in ash, slowing them and making them more vulnerable to fire damage. Causes enemies to explode when they die, dealing fire damage in an area. So that's going to stack with your chest piece explosion, right? That's interesting. Now has a base duration of 5 seconds. Exerted attacks trigger Combust, which is not to be confused with Combustion Support. which converts 60% of physical damage to fire and deals 100% of attack damage in an area at gem level 1, up to 158 at gem level 20. That's a big amount of damage that gets added on top of whatever your base damage is. What's Combust's internal cooldown? Now gains 1% increased area of effect for Infernal Cry, not Combust, per 1% gem quality. Yeah, what's the cooldown on this? I guess we'll get gem information tomorrow. Explosions from slain enemies deal fire damage equal to 8% of the monster's maximum life. That's a lot. Okay, wait. So why won't I use this on a summoner? It causes enemies to explode when they die, not when you kill them. You guys see that? I mean, granted, summoners already have so many different gem slots that we're fighting for, that we're starved. But seriously, you can just run into a pack and shout Abyssal Cry, and then they're going to explode. It's a base duration of 5 seconds. Stuff is going to die within 5 seconds. Stuff is going to die within 1 second when your specters hit it. And everything explodes. Enemies covered in ash take 3% increased fire damage per power, up to 20%. Enemies covered in ash take increase. Okay, so that's a multiplier. That's almost what? 40% multiplier because it's doubled? That's a lot. This acts as a more multiplier. It's not doubled. I'm misquoting that. But that acts as a more multiplier. And usually enemies covered in ash, like, you can't scale that. That's just been a flat thing. Whether you're chieftain or whether you're using the unique amulet. This sounds good, guys. Alright. Let's move on to Rallying Cry. I'm thinking. My wheels are spinning. My slow, geriatric, tired wheels are spinning on how I can make a fire-based Spectromancer. It makes them vulnerable to fire damage. That's really the only thing that it benefits, right? Enemies covered in ash take increased fire damage. Okay, so you would want to use it with Fire Specters. Or maybe you can use the conversion gloves and go zombies or go golems. Right? Maybe. Or go SRS. Go SRS! Oh, why not just go SRS? Oh, C is for cookie. Alright, never mind. Never mind. Pay no attention. Pay no attention. That didn't just potentially become a league starter. Pay no attention. Alright, Rallying Cry. Now taunts all nearby enemies to attack the user and exerts the next 5 melee attacks. Gives nearby allies a buff based on the damage of the user's weapon. What if we read this like it's a crime novel? Now has a base duration of 5 seconds at gem level 1. Up to 5.9 seconds at gem level 20. But then the buff grants an added attack damage equal to 3% of the power. Oh no, 3% of the damage of your main hand weapon per 5 power. Okay, this is really strong. You're gaining attack damage based on your main hand weapon. This buff has 100% more effect on your minions. Buff grants attack. How? Your main hand weapon is now going to affect your minions? What? Oh no, it counts for power. Counts both allies and enemies in range for power. This buff has 100% more effect on your minions. Okay. A Shouting Necromancer. Maybe that's what we're going to play. Enduring Cry. Now taunts all nearby enemies to attack the user. Grants endurance charges. Gives a briefs. He's wearing briefs. No, I'm wearing boxers. Gives a brief burst of life regeneration, as well as a buff, which grants resistances and physical damage reduction based on your endurance charges. Okay, so that's a match made in heaven for the Juggernaut. It's a minimum of 1 endurance charge. So just right away. That's okay. Does it cap? I don't see a cap there. Buff grants 2% to all resistances and 2% additional physical damage reduction per endurance charge. That's a lot of regeneration. Potentially. 2k life regen at gem level 20, like over 1 second. The 2% all resistances really doesn't matter that much. If it was 2% max resistances, then yeah, that would be broken. But you can cap your resistances anyway. I guess if you just want to play like a really unique heavy build, and you just want to rely on your max endurance charge, like stack 9 endurance charges, stack 10 endurance charges. What is that? That's still only, what, 20% added resistance? But 20% additional physical damage reduction. It's not bad. Incoming Juggernaut meta, boys. Sunder now slams the ground, creating a slow wave of churning terrain that damages enemies in a sequence of areas in front of you. Enemies hit by the wave will release a damaging shockwave in an area around them. Using the skill again will stop the previous wave. Requires a mace, scepter, axe, staff, or unarmed. The wave creates 5 areas and cannot stop before creating 2 areas. There is a delay between areas the wave creates. The gem gains reduced delay between areas as it levels, up to 25% reduced delay between the areas at gem level 20. The wave can cause a shockwave from up to 5 enemies. The wave gains +2 to the radius of each area in the sequence. Okay, nice. The shockwaves now deal 40% less damage from 60. Now gains more area of effect as the gem levels up to 19%. Nobody's going to level with Sunder anymore. It's going to be too slow. Tectonic Slam. No longer has a chance to consume endurance charges per attack to create a charged slam. Now consumes an endurance charge every 3rd time you create a fissure. Yep, we read all this before. The spread of fissures has been partially normalized, ensuring both sides of the main fissure will get at least 1 branching fissure. Okay, nice. Skill Balance. All right, here we go. Skills whose costs are reduced to 0 are now shown to have a high mana cost of 0 to differentiate them from skills which do not have a mana cost. All right. Brands have had their detached durations reduced, and these durations are no longer refreshed by brand recall. Yep, rest in peace, the days of infinite brands. Now, new brand styles are now supported through new passive skill tree clusters, keystones, and support gems, as well as a suite of new brand skills. When an enemy dies while a brand is attached, the brand will return to its original position, i.e. wherever it appeared when it was first cast, or a recalled position. Slams, a whole bunch of stuff is now considered a slam. Included in this are Ground Slam, Vol Ground Slam, Leap Slam, Ice Crash, Earthquake, Vol Earthquake, Sunder, Ancestral Warchief, Tectonic Slam, Perforate, Doriani's Touch, and Conch Path. This is the one, and this is the one that I am most excited about. This one is coming in 3rd place for me. Alright, Totems. Made improvements to Totem AI. I can do this. I can read this whole sentence with a straight face. All right, compose yourself. Imagine as though your audience is all smiling. Totems made improvements to Totem AI for skills that have some sort of prerequisite for use, such as blades for Blade Blast or corpses for Detonate Dead. You see what they did up here with brands? Like, brands are getting like 3 or 4 new skills, and when they redid totems, they're like, guys, totems are now ballistas! And, like, I wish I had like a little chicken or something. Like, do I have one of my kids' toys? My kids' toys are always under my feet when I'm walking throughout my house, but they're never at my desk when I need them. Like, a totem now is like, hey guys, look at me! I'm here! I'm helping! That's what ballistas are now. Utterly useless. Totems have intelligence? Yeah, amen, Katrim. They do not. They do not. Shane says, my Leap Slam damage build is coming! Alright, Shane, I want to see it. Submit it for our featured build discussion of the week, man. Send it to me on Discord. I'm looking forward to reading your build guide. Specific skills. Arcane Cloak now has a mana cost of 0 rather than no mana cost. Arctic Breath is now called Creeping Frost. There was an error which caused Arctic Breath to not correctly inherit damage penalties from gems like GMP. We've fixed this, and we've compensated the damage accordingly. So there was a bug, and you're buffing it. Now deals 11 to 16 cold damage at level 1, unchanged. Up to 383 to 572. That's a pretty big buff. It's 80 damage on the low end and over 100 damage on the top end. That's a pretty big buff. Now deals 16 base cold damage per second at gem level 1, up to 1391 per second, which is slightly up. Okay, interesting. Armageddon Brand now activates every 0.75 seconds while attached, which is slightly faster. Now deals 34 to 51 fire damage, which is a bit up to 398 to 597, which is also a bit up. Armageddon Brand, anyone? Now has an added damage effectiveness of 85%, up from 75. Now deals 120 more damage with Ignite at gem level 1, up to 250 more at gem level 20, up from 180. Now has a detached duration of 6 seconds from 10. Now has a base area of effect radius of 22 units. So as somebody who used to love Armageddon Brand and pretended that I was a hipster and didn't like Storm Brand when the brands were first released, like everybody was talking about how good Storm Brands were, and so I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to be special. And so I played a whole bunch of Armageddon Brand. It was a fun build. It wasn't nearly as fast as Storm Brand. Not nearly as fast. All the racers were correct about that. There's a reason why Storm Brand has been popular since it's been released. It's very effective. It was very fast. But Armageddon Brand shined even on release as the better bosser out of the two at its top end. So maybe Armageddon Brand. We'll see. We'll see. Ball Lightning now deals 3 to 57 lightning damage, which is up at gem level 1 to 28 to 533 lightning damage, which is also up. That's up 100 damage. Unless monsters got more HP, Ball Lightning, man, now has an added damage effectiveness of 50%, which is up from 40. Now costs 12 mana, up to 23 mana. Okay, so Ball Lightning just... Guys, you're Ball Lightning miners. Go play. Go play. Go enjoy your league start. I hope your wrists forgive you. And may they not become geriatric wrists like mine. Bear Trap now has an added damage effectiveness of 260. Someday I'm gonna make a Bear Trap build. Someday. Not today, but someday. Body Swap improved the targeting behavior of triggered body swap when nothing was targeted. It now prioritizes corpses if there are any near your targeted location. Hey, that's nice. Brand Recall no longer refreshes the duration of recalled brands. Now spends 20% of each recalled brand's mana cost to activate them when they are recalled. Now has a cooldown of 4 seconds, up from 3, and now gains up to 40% increased cooldown recovery speed at gem level 6, down from 50. Yeah, people are just going to have to cast their brands. Cyclone no longer makes you immune to stun while channeling. I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. Ha The kid from The Simpsons. We've been wanting this to happen for a while. Cyclone is good. Cyclone is great. You know what Cyclone is? Cyclone is your friend from college who you always knew was going to get together with someone, and they really were, they were not doing themselves a favor by being with the person they were with. Like, you are better than this, Cyclone. You don't need stun immunity. Stun immunity is actually holding you back from players who are like, you know what, I can go find stun immunity elsewhere. Let me keep playing Cyclone because it's a really, really fun skill. All the people who are just hanging on to Cyclone because it gave you stun immunity while channeling and all this other great stuff, get rid of the hangers-on. Just be who you are. It's kind of like Summoners after the 3.9 cycle. Like, everybody's, oh, Summoners are destroyed, Iron. Summoners are terrible. Wow, Summoners got nerfed to the ground. Yeah, one particular build did. But Summoners are fine. Cyclone's going to be fine. The guys who want to play Cyclone, go play Cyclone. It's still fine. You'll need to get stun immunity somewhere else if you want stun immunity. Or you just play a Berserker and everything's dead before it hits you. I mean, there's a million different ways to play Cyclone. And there still will be a million different ways to play Cyclone. You'll just have to get stun immunity elsewhere. Dual Strike now deals base damage and has an added damage effectiveness of 125%, unchanged, up to 190, which is up from 170. Earthquake. Aftershocks no longer have added physical damage. Aftershocks now deal 150% more damage with hits and ailments. Okay, so Bleed Earthquake is going to be a thing. Can now be used while unarmed, so Bleed, Earthquake, Face Breakers, or Hollow Palm is going to be a thing. The base radius of the initial hit is now 14 units from 18. Okay, so they're nerfing the radius of the initial hit. Is that because it tested so well with General's Cry and the Mirage guys? Is that why? They're like, no, at 18 it just covers the entire screen times 7. Now it's only going to cover the entire screen times 5. Fireball now has added damage effectiveness of 240. Wow. Up from 180. No longer gains additional explosion radius as the gem levels up. Okay. Now gains additional explosion radius based on the distance the projectile has traveled. Interesting. So the further you're away from something, the better you're going to be for your explosion. Now gains 1% increased projectile speed per 1% gem quality. Previously, it was 0.5% chance to ignite per 1 gem percent. Interesting. Maybe Fireball will be like what the bow users go to now. Stacking bow levels. Fire really fast projectiles. Firestorm now deals 7 to 11 fire damage at gem level 1. Now has an added damage effectiveness of 45%. Up from 35%. Oh, interesting. I wonder if that means that really obnoxious map boss is going to be a little bit better. A little bit more obnoxious. Freezing Pulse now has an added damage effectiveness of 200%, up from 150. Frostbolt is up to 220, up from 160. Ground Slam no longer has added physical attack damage. Now deals base damage that has an added damage effectiveness of 115% at gem level 1, up from 95. Up to 150% at gem level 20, up from 125. No longer tagged as a physical gem. What's the benefit of removing the tag? What's the benefit of removing the tag, guys? Somebody tell me what's the benefit there? It just means that there's other stuff that won't be able to interact with it, right? It makes it more narrow, not more usable. It's kind of weird. Herald of Purity no longer grants added physical damage with spells and attacks. Yeah, we know. We know you nerfed it. We know. Now grants 9% more physical damage at gem level 1, up to 12% more physical damage at gem level 20. Do you see how small of an incremental change that is? Like, look at that. You get 9% more damage at gem level 1, and then over the course of your next 19 levels, you will grow 3%. That's such a bummer. Herald of Thunder. No longer has a 0.4 second cooldown on the storm repeatedly striking the same enemy. Now favors striking enemies that have been struck fewer times. You're not telling me how it's going to favor them. Is it going to favor enemies by having a 0.4 second cooldown repeatedly striking the same enemy? Is that how it's going to favor them? Oh, never change. I used to tell at a company that I used to work at where I had a couple of guys underneath me. And we all had different proposals and different projects to write. I used to tell guys, in your proposal, be sufficiently ambiguous such that someone else can insert their own meaning of where they want you to take the project. Be sufficiently ambiguous. It doesn't mean just be ambiguous. Be sufficiently ambiguous such that there's room for other people to imagine in your plan, and they can make suggestions from there. And you can make suggestions to your plan and change it as you're enacting your plan. Be sufficiently ambiguous that you're not locked into something. That's what this feels like. Sufficient ambiguity. Now favor striking enemies. Well, how? Well, by favoring them. Alright, now deals 1 to 31 lightning damage at gem level 1. That's damage down. Up to 23 to 1108 at gem level 20. That is also down. So damage on Herald of Thunder is down. Now has added damage effectiveness of 100%. Thank you, Purposeful Harbinger builds, for destroying heralds for anybody else. We hope you enjoyed your 1 league of nasty, disgusting fun. Ice Crash no longer has added cold damage, now converts 100% of physical damage to cold damage. Wow, that's up from 50%. You don't have to use Shrim Sorrow anymore. That's interesting. Now deals base damage and has an added damage effectiveness of 230, up from 190, up to 280% at gem level 20. Second stage now deals 15% less damage. Third stage now deals 30% less damage. Okay, so it's nerfed on the stages, but up on the initial hit for its damage effectiveness. Also, this 100% fizz to cold is really interesting right away. That opens up some other build options there. At least in the itemization slots. And on the passive tree. Ice Trap now has an added damage effectiveness of 200%. Infernal Blow now converts 60% of physical damage to fire, up from 50%. I wonder if this means we're going to see some older uniques that had conversion mechanics like change their numbers as well. And if that's the case, I gotta say, that's just... It feels like shifting stuff just for the sake of shifting stuff. If that's the case. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I have faith in Grinding Gear Games. Wow, that sounded like a religious statement, didn't it? I think I need to go reevaluate my life. I have faith in Grinding Gear Games. Oh, man. Lightning Trap now has an added damage effectiveness of 170. By the way, for those of you saying, Iron, why aren't you drinking just beer? Why are you drinking root beer? Because if I was drinking beer, that would have been an entire existential moment. We would have gone down memory lane for like 15 minutes. Just by me saying I have faith in a company. Alright, Lightning Spire Trap. So these are good. So you Sabos and Trappers, these are good. This, not as good. This, though, good. So you guys are going to be good. It looks like Trappers and Miners are actually getting some pretty heavy buffs here. Magma Orb now has added damage effectiveness of 185. Now chains 2 times at gem level 1. And 3 times at gem level 20. Now deals fire damage, unchanged, at level 1. But a lot more at gem level 20. Over 100 and almost 150 damage on the low end. And over 200 damage on the top end. Now gains base radius as the gem levels up to +4 to radius at gem level 20. Hey guys. There is a beautiful Deadeye Magma Orb build in the history of Path of Exile. Where you just chain as many things as you possibly can. I forget what the unique is that gives you +1 chain. What is it? What's it called, guys? You guys remember what I'm talking about? My computer is having an aneurysm here. What just happened? I don't even know. You guys know. What happened? My computer is pulling up like all of the old tabs that I've just destroyed. Is my computer dying? I think it's dying, guys. Guys, what's going on? I'm so confused. Where did my patch notes go? Did you guys kill my patch notes? Did GGG come and visit us and they were like, "No. No, Iron. Your patch notes reading privileges have been destroyed." Chrome crashed your session? Yeah, Google Chrome 2OP. I was just trying to look up a unique amulet. That's all I was looking up. For crying out loud. Gloomfang, thank you. Ninjano, you hit it. You're faster than Google. You're apparently faster than my computer. Pantabudak, thank you. You guys nailed it. Gloomfang. So we're going to see some Magma Orb Gloomfang builds. We're going to see them. We're going to see them. Alright. Molten Strike. Now deals base damage. And has added damage effectiveness of 110%. Down from 120. Up to 148 at gem level 20. Okay, so a slight buff at the end. But that's probably because of the way how they're nerfing flat damage across the board and flat added damage. Yeah, that's probably not even a buff. That's probably not even a buff. That's what I would imagine. Alright, Orb of Storms. Now has added damage effectiveness of 65%, down from 70. Not too bad. An error which caused Orb of Storm strike frequency to benefit doubly from an increased cast speed was fixed, which has affected the balance of the skill, particularly for high cast speed builds. Okay. I still think you can use Orb of Storms while you're leveling as you want to kill bosses. I still think it's good for that. Perforate. Perforate got a big old buff. Now deals base damage and has an added damage effectiveness of 125. Ugh, that's down from 140. Up to 170 at gem level 20. Guys, I thought they said Perforate was going to be better. Now has 2 to 3 added physical attack damage at gem level 1. Up to 75 to 113 at gem level 20. Previously had no added damage. Okay, so this is why the effectiveness came down, because they're just giving it flat physical. Now creates an additional spike. Now creates 2 additional spikes if you've changed stances recently. Now deals 75% less damage while in Blood Stance. So that's a bit worse. Now gains more AoE while in Sand Stance as the gem levels. Up to 76% more at gem level 20. Purifying Flame now has added damage effectiveness of 180%. That's a lot. That's a lot. Weren't there some Purifying Flame League starters? I'm fairly certain in 311 there were some, or 310 there were some Purifying Flame League starters that we recommended. Stormbrand now has a base critical strike chance of 6%, up from 5.5. Now has an added damage effectiveness of 30%, which is down from 40. So the crit strike went up. Now activates every 0.5 seconds while attached. So it activates faster. Now has a detached duration of 6 seconds. Whoa, that's a big nerf. Down from 10. Yeah, that's a big hit. So if you're going Stormbrand, you can play them still, but you're going to be summoning them a lot more often. Between this and the Brand Recall nerf. Summon Holy Relic. Okay, what are they doing to Mussolini's build? Now has a base critical strike chance of 5% on its Nova skill. Previously, erroneously had 0%. Oh, so they're fixing it. So Nova can crit properly now. That's good news. Static Strike. Hey, that's funny. They put Summon Holy Relic right next to Static Strike, what Summon Holy Relic used to use. Now deals base damage and has added damage effectiveness of 110%. Up to 150, which is down. Now has a base duration of 2 seconds, down from 4. Aww. Now converts 50% of physical damage to lightning damage. No longer causes beams to deal 60% less damage while stationary and 40% less damage while moving. Beams now create 40% less damage at all gem levels. No longer creates a stacking buff and no longer gains 10% increased beam frequency per buff stack. Beams now hit enemies every 4 seconds at gem level 1. Down to 0.32 seconds at gem level 20. Ninjano says, I honestly didn't even notice that Holy Relic attacks. Yeah, Mussolini, he was, we featured him a while ago. I want to say that was during Metamorph. He had an entire wonderfully well-written build guide on how to use Summon Holy Relic, and actually Static Strike was the activator at the time. You would run around with 2 Holy Relics, and he took down Cirrus, Awakener level 8 on Cirrus release when the Storm Clouds, when the Chaos Clouds were actually much tougher to deal with. So, interesting. James says, thank you, Grinding Gear Games, for making Storm Brand Recall a utility skill. Instead of a clear speed skill, it was fun for 3 leagues while it lasted. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Oh, man. Wave of Conviction now has added damage effectiveness of 220%. Can we see some more Wave of Conviction builds? Interesting. Alright, Vol Skill Rebalance. Vol EQ. Base attack speed will now match Earthquake. Now has added damage effectiveness of 60%, up from 50%. Up to 71%, which is up from 61%. So Earthquake got a buff. Vol Earthquake got a buff. Vol Fireball got a buff. Vol Ground Slam got a buff. Except for this part. This part's the nerf. No longer has an added attack physical or an added attack physical damage. Interesting. Vol Lightning Trap now has added damage effectiveness of 170. Okay. Vol Molten Shell. Here's the big nerf. Now grants 25 additional armor at gem level 1 from 60 up to 429 additional armor at gem level 20. Guys, why couldn't they have made it 420? Just make it flat 420 for the memes, right? Now grants 20% more armor at gem level 1 up to 29% more armor at gem level 20. Now causes 30% of damage taken from hits to be taken from the buff before your life or energy shield at gem level 1, up to 35% at gem level 20, from 80% at all levels. Oh man, we need to play taps, guys. Guys, it's been nice knowing you, Vol Molten Shell. It was really, really fun. But your time as the go-to hardcore viable survivable reaction skill. Now over. Now over. The buff can now take damage equal to 30% of your armor, down from 60%. Burr, burr, burr. Burr, burr, burr. Burr, burr, burr. Guys, you guys can say it's still good. It might still be good. But this is nowhere near what it will be. What it used to be. 30% at gem level 1. Instead of 80% instantly just because you have it. 80%. Guys, do you realize that you can't get MOM to go up that high? It would be busted. It would be absolutely busted if you could get MOM to go up that high. Up to 80%. That's ridiculous, right? I guess GGG looked at Vol Molten Shell after several leagues that it was the go-to skill in hardcore, and we're just like, you know what? It's weird, but everybody is going Vol Molten Shell. Like 100% of players who are still alive in hardcore are using Vol Molten Shell. So, okay, so I'm gonna illustrate this for you with some food. Do you guys have some food in front of you? Okay. So this is a cookie. Can you guys see the cookie? Hopefully you guys can see the cookie. This is a cookie. This cookie used to be Vol Molten Shell. What they've done is they've taken Vol Molten Shell, which was this cookie, and they've now broken this cookie. And they took the bigger part of the cookie and they said, it's gone. It's no longer in the game. Here is your cookie. Here you go. All right, you can clip that. You can post on Reddit. You can go share it with your friends on Facebook. I don't care. But that's what they've done. I'm not angry about it. I'm just saying the power level, 80% down to a max of 35. And then the buff now can only take 30% of your armor to count towards that total of the HP pool that it has as a shield. So if you used to have 10,000 armor, it would give you 6,000 shield. Now it's going to give you 3,000 shield. That's a big, big nerf. And that 3,000 shield can only take 35% of the damage that's going to come at you. I guess Grinding Gear Games wants to see more rip clips. So like, you know what? You know what the various streaming community needs? We need more rip clips. Too many people are surviving in hardcore. Oh, quick, somebody go check Zizaran's stream. Is he alive? Guys, is he still there? He's been streaming for like 1,000 straight days, maybe 2,000 straight days. That guy's only had like a day off, like, I don't even know when. He skipped people's weddings, he skipped people's family engagements. He's so dedicated to this game. Vol Molten Shell might be the end. Ziz, if you're watching, I love you. Please don't leave PoE. And don't let this get you down. You will rip, we will all laugh and have a good time, and you will continue to play and we'll all love it. And hopefully you'll have a great time playing as well. But this is legit. Like, why would you want to invest in armor now? Vol Molten Shell was making armor better than armor ever was making itself look. Okay, do you guys know the psychological research that says that people together in a group are more attractive than when they are on their own, right? I forget what it's called. Is it called the peacock effect? Is it called the ostrich effect? I don't remember what it is. But there is a genuine researched reality that people find other people more attractive. They will give them higher ratings of attractiveness when they see them in a group together than when they're individual. And it's because you've got a point of comparison. Armor, by itself, has always looked hideous in Path of Exile. It is not the best way to deal with damage in Path of Exile. But Vol Molten Shell was together with armor going, you know what? Armor can't be that bad if Vol Molten Shell is hanging out with it. Now look at it. They're both just two massive, broken down, terrible things going, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Nothing. Nobody wants to hang out with me. Me either. Gonna do something together? Yeah, but at 35% effectiveness instead of 80. Alright, that sounds about good to me. It's full molten shell. Oh, and by the way, now if you ever want to use anything else with Vol Molten Shell, if you ever want to invite a third person into this party of armor and Molten Shell leaves. Hey, Molten Shell. Yeah, what's up, armor? Let's do something this weekend. Well, I was thinking about it, but I was going to invite over one of my other guard skills to come help us out. All right, I'm out then. Yes. Oh. Rest in peace, Vol Molten Shell. That's funny. Archmage support. Okay, support gem balance. Archmage got gutted. We already know about it. Why do you got to rub it in? Supported skills now gain added lightning damage equal to 70% of mana cost at gem level 1, unchanged, up to 108% at gem level 20, down from 127. Yeah, we know. Shockwave support now gains additional uses as the gem levels up to 4 at gem level 20. Now deals 160% of base damage at gem level 1, unchanged, up to 260, which is an increase from 210. Shockwave totems. Shockwave totems. James says, gamer for life lobbied grinding gear games wanting more rip clips. That's a great point. Yeah, that's right. The stream compilation guys are all like, please give us more rip clips. It makes our job so much easier. Slower projectile support. Supported skills now have 20% less projectile speed at gem level 1, from 30% up to 30% less at gem level 20 from 49%. Passive tree balance. We've taken the opportunity with this patch to review the passive skill tree as a whole with a few specific goals in mind. We wanted to add support for mechanics that have been added in the past few years that as of yet do not have adequate support on the passive tree. Some of these mechanics, this is verbatim from the manifesto. Some of these mechanics include Rage, Unleash, Corpse Manipulation, Warcry, Heralds, and Banners. Many passive skill clusters offered the same thing as other clusters, with the only difference being the location. Yep, we know that. We said that yesterday. Timeless Jewels are now on the tree. Yep. The Agnostic, Glancing Blows, Supreme Ego, Wind Dancer, and Eternal Youth. We've also added new keystones as part of our effort to support newer mechanics. These keystones are the Impaler, Imbalance Guard, and Call to Arms. We also wanted to reduce the power of some clusters that were overly efficient and increase the power of clusters that were inefficient. Ultimately, the passive skill tree should provide more interesting choices regardless of your build. Does that include summoners? Because I already have lots of interesting choices. I'm not just trying to be, summoner centric here. But is that really regardless of your build, or are we just looking at melee stuff? I don't think we're just looking at melee stuff, because judging from all the skill gems, we've got a ton of different gems that are getting buffs. Due to the volume of changes to the passive skill tree, we won't be listing each out. Instead, you can check out the new tree for yourself here. Why is this a zip file? Are they trolling me? What the heck? Okay, what do I do with this? What do I do with this zip file? Quick, run to the Reddit. Run to the subreddit. Does somebody already have it uploaded somewhere? Somebody already have an image? Does anybody have an Imgur image of the new passive tree? What if I Google 311 passive tree? What comes up? The 3.1 passive tree comes up. No, I'm not interested in that. Passive tree changes. There's no way they've already got a POB update, right? There's no way. Yeah, my POB says there's no update. I'm using the POB community fork, by the way. There's no way there's already an update, right? Guys, what? Like, what? Yeah, POB is not going to be updated yet. Somebody send me a screenshot. This is the biggest tease. Like, part of patch notes is reading the passive tree. Hey, here's the passive tree. Click on this link. Guys, this is literally what it looks like. This is what this where is it? Where did it go? This is what this unzipped file folder looks like. Assets and data JSON. Like, I can pull up all the images and pull up all the icons from the passive tree. Look at this. Oh, yeah, that's really helpful, isn't it? You import the files into POB? Oh, gosh. That's going to be bad. I'm not going to be able to do that. You need to put the JSON on POB and change it to text? You're asking me to find out where I've got my POB installed on my computer. Ugh. Ugh. You guys are asking me to do live technical stuff while I'm streaming. You guys want to see how geriatric I am? How much of a boomer I am? You guys want to see me crash my computer right while I'm trying to figure this out? So how was your patch notes reading last night, Iron? Oh, it was great. It was great. They gave us a JSON document. A JSON document? What's that? No, JSON. What is that? Is that some kind of new nickname or something? Nope. Guys, I don't know where I have Path of Building installed to. Then what do I do? You guys are going to have me destroy my computer, right? Somebody take a screenshot. Oh, but a screenshot won't work because I won't be able to scroll everything. This is dumb. Alright, so you need to put the JSON on POB and then change it to a text. I don't know about this. I don't know about this. If this destroys my computer, it's your fault. I'm blaming you. Okay, I did that. Do I need to relaunch my POB? No, I just did that. This is ridiculous. PoE Planner has it? Oh, excellent. We're going there. That's where we're going. Oh, there we go. PoE Planner. Bada boom. Thank you, Stan. Thank you. Stan, have I ever told you you're the man? Because you're awesome. Okay, now wait a minute. Now I have another problem. Oh, guys. Bex. Bex, please don't ever do this again. Instead, you can just check out the new tree for yourself. Bex, I'm going to have to look at every single passive node. Ah, Bex. Ah. That's actually like headache inducing. That's all right. So now, okay. I'm just thinking as we're chatting together. How the heck do I display this so that way we can look at the old passive tree using POB? All right, we're gonna go split screen here. We're gonna try it. Nope, PoE Planner. Look at that's PoE Planner's support for split screen. That does not make me happy. Does that make you guys happy? Oh, man. I don't know. Alright. What are you saying, Beckett? You're saying forceful skewering. Okay, let's go find forceful skewering. Here's what forceful... Oh, my gosh. This is so frustrating. This is like on 2 separate pages. Forceful skewering. Impales have -10, 15% chance to impale, 5% increase impale effect. Okay, do we still have forceful scaling? No, it's now called Harpooner. So is forceful scaling still there? No, forceful skewering. What are you talking about, Beckett? They moved this. Impale damage dealt to enemies impaled by you overwhelms 10% of physical damage reduction. Okay, so they once again have new impale language. Right? So they moved forceful skewering. 10%, 15, 5%. 10%, 15%, 5%. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Now this is called Harpooner, which is not the same thing, but it's in the same place as what forceful skewering used to be in. It says 20% chance to impale enemies on hit with two-handed weapons. 20% increased effect of impales you inflict with two-handed weapons on non-impaled enemies. Okay, so like your first impale is going to be better, but once you've impaled them, then you lose that. Okay, when an impaled enemy is hit, the impale reflects 10% of the physical damage of the impaling hit to that enemy. And remember, we can't scale reflex. So, I'm genuinely curious. Like, we're doing this live. This is the what is it? The meme. F it. We'll do it live. Like, how do you guys want me to look at this? You just want me to scroll through everything? Like, we're gonna be here until tomorrow. No, not just tomorrow. We'll be here until Friday. We'll be here until League launch if we're looking at every single node. Cleaving grants 20% increased physical with axes. Axes deal 20% increased damage with ailments. 30% damage with hits. Bleeding you inflicts deals damage 15% faster. Alright, so that's cleaving. 20%, 20%, 30%, 15. 20, 20, 30, 50, like, plus 1 melee strike? No, that's the same. Okay, so there's at least there's some new keystones. I'm gonna blow this back up. We're gonna say bye-bye to POB for now. Cowsed says, check the double stun node iron. What's it called? What's it called, Cowsed? Okay. Impale nodes. There are still several Impale nodes. The Impaler. When your hits impale enemies, also impale other enemies near them. Inflict 4 additional impales on enemies you impale. Enemies cannot be impaled for 4 seconds after you impale them. How does that work? Oh, I hate their wording. I'm sorry. This is getting tough to read. Enemies near them inflict 4 additional impales on enemies you impale. But enemies cannot be impaled for 4 seconds after you impale them. Do you see why that's confusing? If enemies cannot be impaled for 4 seconds after you impaled them, then if you've impaled them, that triggers other enemies near them to inflict 4 additional impales. I'm so confused. Stun Mastery? Stun Mastery. Where's Stun Mastery? Unwavering Stance. Stun Mastery. 10% reduced enemy stun threshold. 30% stun and block recovery. 10% chance to gain an endurance charge when you stun an enemy. 10% chance to double stun duration. Okay, that part is good. But that is such a low chance percent. Okay, how many different nodes do we got? We got double stun duration. There's 4 different nodes. 5%. All right, where's my calculator? Pull up my calculator. Kill some of these. So we got what? 5%? We got what? 10%? Plus what? 10%? Plus what? 10%? 35% chance to double stun duration? I don't know. Did they put this on an ascendancy? Why is this over here? Why is the Inquisitor over here? Why is it... Is the Inquisitor like, yeah, I don't like the Hierophant and the Guardian. They're probably going to get nerfed. I'm coming over here. You guys are getting buffs. Look, it's not symmetrical. What's... Oh, PoE planner never changed. Ugh. I don't like this. Oh, Bex. Could you guys not have just told us? Due to the volume of changes to the passive tree. This is community outsourcing in the worst way. Okay, this is community outsourcing in the worst way. On the one hand, I get it that they're like, hey, you guys can go discover all the changes on the tree. Yeah, we can, but Patch Notes Day is Patch Notes Day for a reason. Because we all want to read, this is what it used to be, this is what it is now. So now over the next 72 hours, and realistically over the next 2 weeks, as we're all playing and enjoying the League launch, everybody's going to be going, well, should you actually be taking that? Well, here's what it was on the old tree, and here's what it is on the new tree. Because once the new tree takes effect, just think about this if you're a new player. I got to rant for a second. Think about this if you're a new player. If you're a new player and you just started playing during Delirium and you just started to get used to the passive tree, and I don't mean the whole passive tree, I mean the passive tree that you were playing for your particular build, and somebody at the company has decided, hey, you know what, we're gonna update the passive tree, and the way we're gonna communicate this is we're just gonna say, hey, here's some files, you can go download them onto a third-party program. This player might have never even used Path of Building before. And so this player is going, okay, how do I look at this? And let's say this new player was intelligent enough, smart enough, and stylish enough, just like you guys, to come hang out with old geriatric, balding G3 Iron and was like, you know what, I'll hang out with that guy. He's made a few videos that I've enjoyed and I've learned from, so I'll come hang out with him in the community there. Okay, so the new player comes here and they're hanging out in chat. And we get to this part where we're like, hey, yeah, I wonder what the passive tree changes are going to do to my build that I've been playing in Delirium. And G3 Iron's like, oh, cool, here's the passive tree balance section. This is where we're going to talk about what's going to update my particular build. And instead of actually looking at it, we go, yeah, you got to go to this third-party website and you need to look at every single individual node and then have a point-by-point comparison of every node that you used to take and every node that you are now going to take, because once these changes go into effect in-game, if people don't have PoE Planner and Path of Building, you literally won't be able to compare. There's no old passive tree that you can compare to. I don't think I've ever been more disappointed in patch notes than that. That's... Guys, imagine this for a second. If I go into work, this makes me disappointed as a customer. If I go into work and I tell my boss tomorrow, you know what, boss, due to the volume of the work that I have put in yesterday, I'm not going to give you a report on those changes. Instead, you can check it out for yourself. Here's a data dump for you. You can just go check it out. If you're a new player, you are now required to be using, and I don't even want to say like, hey, you know, Grinding Gear Games needs to cater to new players. I'm all in favor of Path of Exile being the elitist's RPG. I am all in favor of that. But now you're going to come in and you're going to look at the Path of Exile, not Path of Building, Path of Exile passive tree and go, this was my build in 3.10. What did I just do there? There we go. How does it change for 3.11? Like, unless you literally manually go through each and every passive node that you would have taken, so what you have to do now is you have to look at each and every node that you would have taken on your old 3.10 passive tree. Then you have to look at that new tree, that same tree in 3.11. That's fair. That really isn't that much. But then you've got to look at every single other node that's possible as a contender for you to restructure your tree. Now, for those of us that like theory crafting, for those of us who have got awesome Patreon supporters who support us and who drop tips on PayPal and who do stuff like Twitch chat and YouTube chat and all this other stuff, for people who are getting paid to play this game, this is great. It's more free content. Hey guys, G3 Iron here with the 10 passive nodes. Wait, where's the PoE planner? Hang on a second. I'm gonna do a quick. If I seem upset, it's because I am. I'm gonna do a quick video here for you guys, just real quick. Okay, right. We're just gonna do right here. So we got Way of the Word. Hey guys. What is up, YouTube? My name is G3 Iron, and today we are taking a look at the 10 passives that got changed in the 3.11 upcoming Harvest League, and those 10 passives that are nearest to the Marauder tree coming out on the south side near the life and armor nodes or the melee and damage nodes. We're not going to be able to take a look at the melee and damage and life nodes today, so we're going to take a look at these changes on the life and armor side as they come down and approach Heart of the Warrior, and then eventually, maybe tomorrow, we're going to make another video about coming over into the martial experience and all the way over here to Forceful Skewering. And then the next day we'll make another one, going up Born to Fight and coming out and taking a look at Deep Breaths and maybe coming over here and getting Blacksmith's Clout. And then maybe tomorrow we can do... Like, if you've got 9 hours or 12 hours of streaming content that you have to be looking through this stuff, then this is glorious for you. If you do anything but just stare at your screen with Path of Exile all day, this is a pretty big smack in the face if you were expecting to understand the passive tree tonight. Or not even understand, start to look at. Am I missing something here? Maybe I'm missing something. I'm going to cheat and I'm going to look through here. Ascendancy Balance, Lab Items, 2-handed Weapons, 2-handed Cluster Jewels, 2-handed other unique items. Abyss, Atlas, Zana, Quest Rewards, Bug Fixes. Laucon says if you don't calm down, you're going to end up on Reddit. That's fine. They can... Reddit can do whatever it wants. Reddit likes to crucify people. Let them crucify me. Let's try to refresh it. Maybe, did they, let's F5. Did they add something? Or they're like, hey, that was a really bad idea. Check your Discord PMs. Oh, look at that! They did it! Hey! Okay, where did you find this? Shout out to Fossey. Thank you for sending me a PM. Oh, look! Okay, there's a massive announcement an hour and a half later. It just now came through on Discord. All notables and keystones and Path of Exile. Thank you, GGG. Thank you. I get that these are a lot of changes. Guys, I went through and I read all of the keystone changes for Delirium for the cluster jewels. I'm fine looking at all the individual keystone changes. Just give me the information in one spot. Don't make me look all around the passive tree. The passive tree is not built for that sort of searching. All right, let's go down here. This is where we were at. They just put it on the main page. Okay, good. Thank you. Trevor says, embarrassing rant for something that wasn't a problem, rip. Trevor, what the hell are you talking about, dude? Like, up until a minute ago, this wasn't posted. What do you mean for something that wasn't a problem? If we don't have this webpage that literally got posted a minute ago, then all of the problems that we just pointed out are problems. Man. Use your head, folks. If they just give us this and we're just staring at PoE Planner, look at that. Ninjano's already going to bed. Like, we've all got stuff to do. It just shows everything changed or not. Oh, that's even better. So this is just all of the nodes? Is that what this is now? Dimitri says just speak content. Yeah, that's right. Just be an auto text-to-speech bot. That's what I should be from now on, right? They didn't show the actual changes, just what will be in 3.11. So, what? So this doesn't solve any of it. No, it solves some of it. It solves some of it. This gives us a template of information that we can at least look at and say, okay, this is what's going to be. This is what's going to be. So we've at least got that. But again, you've got to go side-by-side comparison and say, this is what it used to be. We now as a community have got to do that work. I'm letting you guys see that. This is what, guys, look at this. This was just a moment ago, a few moments ago. Shockwave support now deals 160% of base damage, unchanged, up to 260% at gem level 20, from 210%. That is a clear, concise message that delivers what the change or non-change is going on with the gem. It gives us a percentage. It gives us a feeling of weight. We like to talk about how items have weight in Path of Exile. Patch notes have a ton of weight. Having all of this is helpful. Having acrobatics and old acrobatics next to each other, very helpful. Now, this is the same, because I know acrobatics. Ancestral Bond. This is the same, because I know what Ancestral Bond looks like. Because I have, according to Steam, you guys thought it was bad earlier. Just wait. I'm going to get angry here in a second. Because I have 5,200 logged in hours just on my Steam account. I know what Ancestral Bond looks like. I know that Avatar of Fire gives you 50% of physical cold and lightning damage, converted to fire, and then you deal no non-fire damage. I know what that's like because I've got 5K hours in this game and literally spend hours every week playing Path of Exile, reading Path of Exile, thinking Path of Exile. If I was coming to Path of Exile for the first time tonight, right now, and I had a build from the last 2 weeks and I'm looking, how's it going to change? How am I supposed to get that information? The information for gems and for items is all right here. It's presented very concisely, very beautifully in this post. Now, on the one hand, we've all been saying all day, and we've all been excited, patch notes when? Patch notes when? I get that. I get that. And COVID just happened this spring. COVID just happened this spring. So the fact that we're getting any changes at all is amazing. All right? I should have started the patch notes with that. The fact that we are getting any new content in the midst of a global pandemic that has shut down and ended a lot of other people's businesses is amazing. The choice to go from this presentation of information to this is not helpful. It's not helpful. Does that make sense? Maybe it doesn't. Feel free to push back. I'm probably going to respond. Chaos inoculation. Maximum life becomes 1. Immune to chaos damage. Yeah, I knew that already. Nathan says, can we move on? They aren't there. I bet in an hour someone will have compiled the list. That's fair. That's fair. You know, one of the things that I really loved, where is it? That I really loved about Delirium was this document. We're going to move on here in just a minute, Nathan. You make the most compelling argument. Hey, let's move on. Somebody's going to do the work. No sense in sitting here getting upset. Yeah, Chris says, here you go. Have the data.json file. Oh, and we will give you all the notables, but no information on what actually changed. Have fun. Yeah, maybe it'll come out later. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. This document was beautiful. I forget who even put together this document, okay? But this document was beautiful. It gave us all of these different cluster notable jewels, okay? This looks very similar to this, right? You put them side by side. You go, hey, this looks very similar, right? We've just got all the keystones. This is good. The reason why this works for Delirium is because it's all brand new when Delirium came out. It was all new. It wasn't changes. And so every single thing that you'd read from Delirium was in and of itself a change. It was an update. It was something new. It was something never before seen. You didn't need to know if Battle Hardened now is 30% increased instead of 35. You just never had Battle Hardened to begin with. So 35% is new altogether. If you're a new player and you're looking at this, you're just going, what? I gotta look at all this? Look at this, guys. This is all right. I'm done. I'm done with the passive tree. All right, let's move on. That's upsetting. Trevor says, sorry to come across insulting, my dude. Was not intentional. I typed it in the tone I'd say to one of my buddies in person or on voice. No insult intended. Hey, Trevor, you're fine. I welcome the pushback. Okay, I want the pushback. If this community is just, hey, whatever G3 Iron thinks, then that's not a community. That's not a community. I won't learn anything in that regard, right? Maybe, and this was me trying to learn something live for all of you guys. I'm looking at this going, hey, maybe this is a new way to present the information and we can all look at it and it'll be better. So I want to be on board with that, right? Totally fine with that. But looking at this and going, okay, what? Alistair says G3 Iron is really a noob. Yeah, there you go. I'm a noob. I'm the 5,000 hour noob. You're right. Oh, you're right. No, you're fine, Trevor. Yeah, I'm not taking what you're saying as an insult. What I'm saying here is, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do here with this? Oh, we're supposed to move on. All right. I'm about to join the Reddit crowd, right? Water is wet, G3 Iron is angry. Oh. I'm sorry, that's just a disappointment. Oftentimes that's the biggest part of the patch notes, you know, for updating your builds. Especially if your build wasn't like the flavor of the month rework like two-handers. Alright. Necromancer Corpse Pack now has an upper limit on increases to cast speed per corpse consumed recently of up to 200%. Hey, by the way, those of you that were like, hey, Iron, I could never see you playing League of Legends. The last 20 minutes have probably proved to you what I'm like when I'm playing League of Legends. Jeez. That game can bring out the worst in me. And you guys have just had to deal with some of it. Oh, you guys are saints for listening to me. Chieftain, Tahoa Forest Strength has moved, and is no longer a prerequisite to Valaco Storm's Embrace. It has been redesigned and now grants level 20 Tahoa's chosen skill, which is triggered when you use a slam attack, creating an image which mirrors your slam attack. This skill has a short cooldown. A new small passive leads to Tahoa Forest Strength. It grants 10% increased area of effect and 0.5% life regeneration per second. Valaco Storm's Embrace no longer grants 3% more damage for each endurance charge lost recently, up to 15%. Instead, it now grants 15% more damage for 8 seconds when you lose or consume any endurance charges. Oh, so now it just gives you the biggest chunk of that for 8 seconds. Okay, so you can consume a single endurance charge and just go immediately up to 15% rather than having to I'm losing my words. Consume 5 different charges to get up to 15%. So yeah, that's good. I like that. The small passive leading to Valaco Storm's Embrace no longer grants 15% increased endurance charge duration. It now grants 5% chance to gain an endurance charge on kill. Okay. Because now they want the Chieftain to be more of like the endurance juggling style ascendancy. So like, hey, you gain an endurance charge, you consume it for 8 seconds, you get 15% more damage. So go kill something, you got another endurance charge to refresh that every 8 seconds. I like it. So the Juggernaut is the stacking endurance charges ascendancy. The Chieftain is the juggle endurance charges ascendancy. Okay. That's fair. Warbringer has been redesigned. It now causes war cries to grant 5 rage per 5 power if you have less than 25 rage, and causes them to sacrifice 25 rage if you have at least 25 rage. It also causes exerted attacks to deal 50% more damage if a war cry sacrificed rage recently. That's big. Okay, so you can use a war cry to build up your rage to 25, and then you can sacrifice it whenever you want to. So you could start a boss encounter. You could start a boss encounter tapping one war cry to get up to 25. And then once you're at 25, you tap another war cry because they no longer share cooldowns. And this now gives you an exerted attack to deal 50% more damage because you've sacrificed the 25 rage recently. That's pretty cool. That That is the pinnacle of active, engaging gameplay, right? You got 3 things that you got to do here. 1, your lead in Warcry. 2, your expenditure of Rage Warcry. And then 3, boom, now you attack. And you do a bunch more damage. I like it. The small passive leading to Warbringer no longer grants 20% increased Warcry duration. It now grants 20% increased Warcry speed. See, they can do it with Ascendancies. I get it. There's tons of these changes here. Just show me what they are. Come on. Hero font, Sign of Purpose, has been redesigned. It now causes brands to have 100% more activation frequency in the final 25% of their attached duration. It also causes brand recall to have 100% increased cooldown recovery speed. Okay, so that's a bunch more activation at the end of each brand. Yeah, I think Hero Font Armageddon brand is going to be a legit starter. That'll be a good starter. The question is, then do you pivot from there and you go with something of a more speed build later on? Nugan says, what is power? Power is a new stat that is related to war cries. Power is a new stat that is related to war cries. It'll interact with rage. So based on, where was it? Let me read you the words precisely. Where was it? Each war cry is enhanced by proximity of enemies, and for some war cries, allies or corpses too. This is measured as power. That's what power is. With normal enemies give you 1 power, so it's like a stack. Magic enemies providing 2, rare enemies providing 10, unique enemies providing 20, and players providing 5. So war cries give you power. It's an independent stat just for war cries, and now we see why it's being used. It's being used in some scenarios like rage expenditure for Berserker. All right, item balance. This is where the lab is going to be really interesting. The lab is going to be interesting. I'm surprised we don't have more patch notes on the lab because the lab is getting a rework. So maybe there will be some more details here. Lab helmet enchantments that granted reduced earthquake duration can no longer be obtained, though existing versions aren't affected. Okay, so reduced EQ duration helmets are now legacy. Labyrinth helmet enchantments that went charged slam for Tectonic Slam can no longer be obtained. Existing versions of this enchant now grant extra chance for branching fissures. All right, so that's an update. That's not a legacy. Lab enchants that grant Rallying Cry buff effect now grant increased Rallying Cry buff effect and can no longer be obtained. This affects all existing items. Okay, so the 50 to 75% increased effect of Rallying Cry is not legacy. It doesn't exist. It's done. Lab enchants for Rallying Cry are down. Okay, that affects everything. This makes sense. Lab enchants affecting Enduring Cry grant increased cooldown reduction instead and can no longer be obtained. Lab enchantments for Abyssal Cry are affected, so not legacy. So far, EQ is the only thing that's going legacy. All right, we'll see you, James. Have a good rest of your night, man. We will see you not tomorrow morning, but probably Thursday morning with our 6 recommended builds for League starting. And then, of course, we'll see you over the weekend as we are streaming the League start. Abyssal Cry affects everything. Okay. Essence of Hysteria on boots will now drop Burning Ground every 10 units instead of 25. Oh, cool. Added a new type of oil. Added 13 new ring anointments that can utilize the new indigo oil. Oh, that's interesting. That's like a mini buff to Blight League in and of itself right there. Just getting new oil and then new anointments. That's a lot of content. Because that means that there's new oils interacting with new passives on the tree for anointments. It also means that there's new potential like outcomes if we use oils to anoint maps. There's a lot there. Ukemout says, hardcore or softcore this league? I'm going softcore because the baby is due in a month. So I'm going hardcore. Or I'm sorry, I'm going softcore. I don't have the time to go hardcore. I'm going to lose if I did, I would lose too many characters and not progress to the end game. And then the baby's going to get here and I'm not going to be back for a bit. So I'm going to go soft core so that way I can experience some of the end game of Harvest. Due to the removal of some notable passive skills, some existing anointed amulets may now have new notables on them. Amulets previously anointed with Battlecry now have Admonisher. Those with Words of Glory now have Natural Authority. Okay, so if you've already anointed, that's actually interesting. So if you've already anointed anything, that's an interesting development problem. Like, if you've already anointed something in Standard, you now have to re-anoint it. Which really isn't that big of a deal. No, it's just interesting. And to be honest, we should expect it now. We should expect it. Like, hey, if there's going to be passive tree changes, then it means there's going to be anointment changes. So you may have to re-anoint your really, really cool amulet. Added new Elder Slayer influence modifiers to several slots. The Hunter influenced ring modifier that grants faster start of energy shield recharge is now instead found on Redeemer influenced rings. Existing items with this modifier are unaffected. Okay, so Hunter ES rings are legacy. We have reviewed all two-handed weapon base types and have adjusted their attack damage, speed, and implicits, with the goal of giving two-handed weapon builds a different feel to their dual-wield and one-handed counterparts. Yep. Alright, War Staves. The Ezomite Staff now has a base crit chance of 7.3, up from 7. Implicit now grants 20% block chance, up from 18. Maelstrom Staff gives you 6.8% base crit, up from 6.5. Implicit now grants 25% block chance, up from 20. Oh, that's a lot. Judgment Staff, base crit is now 6.5, up from 6.3. Implicit now grants 20% spell block chance, up from 18. Okay. That's interesting. So two-handed block builds, huh? Got a little bit of a buff. Two-handed maces. Hey, what's up, Shack Central? Welcome, welcome. Morningstar. The implicit now increases area of effect by 15%. The Solar Maul implicit now increases area of effect by 15%. Wow, that's a big change. 15 from 4. Karui Maul base attacks per second is now 1.0 from 1.1. Implicit now grants 45% increased stun duration from 30%. All right, I like it. Colossus Mallet base attacks per second is now 1.3, up from 1.2. Base crit chance is now 5.5, up from 5. Implicit now grants 30% increased area damage. That makes sense. Pile Driver. Base attacks per second is now 1.35, up from 1.3. Implicits now grant 20% reduced enemy stun threshold. Meat Grinder. Implicit now grants 5% chance to deal double damage with hits from this weapon. Nice. Imperial Maul. Base attacks now 1.1, down from 1.2. Implicit now grants 10% increased strength. Strength stackers. Woohoo! Attribute stacking. Yay! Terror Maul gives you base attacks per second is now 1.15, down from 1.25. Base crit chance is now 6, up from 5. Implicit now grants 25% chance to double stun duration. So you can go for the Karui Maul, that's just like a flat increase, or you can go for the one that gives you a chance to double stun duration. So we said, where's my calculator? Honey, where is my calculator? We said 35% is now available on the tree for a chance to double stun duration. Plus 25%. What is that, 60? So you can get 60% chance to double stun duration? Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Coronal Mace, or Coronal Maul. Coronal Maul. How do you say this 10 times fast? Coronal Maul. Base attacks per second is now 1.2, down from 1.25. Implicit now increases area of effect by 20%, up from 6%. That's a lot. Two-handed axes. The Chopper has a little bit slower attack. Sundering Axe, a little bit faster. Implicits now cause hits with this weapon to have 20% damage over time multiplier for bleeding. Oh, that's interesting. Ezomite Axe. Base attacks per second is up. Base crit is up. Volax, base attacks per second is down. Implicit now give attacks with this weapon 25% chance to maim on hit. That means that you don't want an Elder... Is it Elder? An Elder Volax with supported by level 1 maim. Right? Is that an Elder mod? Maybe I'm misremembering that. Despot Axe. Base attacks per second is now 1.4, down from or up from 1.3. Void Axe base crit chance is now 6%. That's a pretty big increase. 6 instead of 5 as a base is pretty big. What is that? 20%? Implicits that granted 30% increased global accuracy rating now grant 45% increased global accuracy rating. Okay, so they've upped the global accuracy. Reavers are now up in attack speed. Implicits now grant the increased accuracy. The Ezomite Blade base attacks per second is now 1.4. Crit is up to 6.5? Whoa! Implicits now grant plus 25 to global crit strike multi. Hello? Hello? That crit chance. Oh my. Where's George Takei when you need him? Oh my. Implicits with a 25% chance to crit strike. Multi. That's pretty good, especially since crit strike multi is getting nerfed on other rolls. No wonder why it's a two-handed league. Things are definitely getting pushed. That's Mrs. Draconis texting me before she goes to bed. That's very kind of her. Very kind of Mrs. Draconis. Vol Greatsword. Implicit now gives attacks with this weapon flat accuracy. A Lion Sword base attacks per second is now 1.45. Implicit now grants 50 to strength and dex. Wow. That's kind of interesting. Infernal Sword. Implicit now gives attacks with this weapon 30% increased elemental damage. Okay, so is that Starforge? Exquisite Blade, base crit chance is now 5.7, down from 6. Implicit now grants plus 50 to global strike multiplier. Down from 60. Why wouldn't I use the Ezomite Blade? It's got better crit. It's got worse crit multi. So that's fair. Here's a list of stuff that's getting balance changed. Many balance changes have been made to the passive skills granted by cluster jewels. This affects all existing cluster jewels with these passives automatically. So in other words, all of this stuff is getting I'm getting frustrated again. All of this stuff is getting changed, but we don't know how it's getting changed. Am I reading that right, or am I missing it? Quick, somebody PM me on Discord if I'm missing another website update. Am I missing it? I must be missing it. Added several new curse and aura-centric notables, but we're not going to tell you what they are. Okay. 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 I thought that's what we were waiting for patch notes for, but Are they going to be over here? Is that where they're going to be? Yeah, look at the posts on the thread right away. Are you guys on crack or something? Would be nice if they were sorted or shown location. Wow, long lists. Never seen before this long keystone page. But thank you for posting it, but this list is less useful because cluster jewels and notables on the skill tree that were rebalanced are mixed. But what changed? All I see is just a list of everything on the tree with no point of reference. Should I make a post? I'm not going to make a post. I've already ranted about it. Whatever. Alright, so we have new and aura-centric cluster notables. But we'll find out about it later. Alright, base types of uniques have been changed. Look at this. See, they're showing us what it used to be, and now what it will be. That's nice. I appreciate that. I like that. Combs Primacy has 100 to 140. That's down. Dancing Dervish has 130 to 160, which is down. Nagahamu's Flame has 170 to 190, which is down. Marohai Urki has 230 or has 200 to 230, which is down. Everything is down. Due to the damage increases given to two-handed weapon base types, we've adjusted the damage on a number of two-handed unique weapons. So all of these are now legacy now. These are all legacy, so don't use a Divine Orb if you play standard. Yeah, Red, I am not happy tonight. I don't know if you're just joining us now, but I am not happy. Nobody, that's not a threat. That's not like a, oh, we watch out, G3 Iron's not happy. I'm just saying, as somebody who loves to read the patch notes and who loves grinding gear games and who loves Path of Exile, I'm not happy with the way how they're presenting information tonight. And I've caveated. I said it earlier. I should have started off tonight by saying it. I'm very glad that we're getting anything in the midst of a global pandemic that has shut down tons of people's businesses. People inside the G3 community have messaged me. Patreon supporters have messaged me. People have lost their jobs. People have lost loved ones during COVID. So the fact that we're getting new video game content during a global flippin' pandemic is amazing. I'm very thankful that we're getting anything. I'm simply saying that the way that it's being presented tonight seems a bit off from what we would normally see. And maybe that's COVID related. I don't know. Hopefully that's what it is. It was just things are put out in the way that they are because of the time constraints that we're all under right now. Other unique items. Yeah, so somebody mentioned Kingmaker. Kingmaker doesn't matter on the increased physical damage because your Animate Guardian doesn't do damage when he's using Kingmaker. The reason why you're using Kingmaker isn't because of the physical damage on it. The reason why you're using Kingmaker is because nearby allies have Culling Strike and Fortify. That's why you're using Kingmaker. Other unique items. Alright, here's a bunch of other unique items. Ton of unique items that they're working on. Oh, Gloomfang. Here's one I'm willing to read. Gloomfang no longer causes projectiles to gain 15 to 20% of non-chaos damage as extra chaos damage per chain. Now causes projectiles that have chain to gain 20 to 35% of non-chaos damage as extra chaos damage. Okay, so the first hit won't get the buff, but after that, it gets better. Now grants 30 to 40% increased projectile speed. Existing versions of the items are unaffected. Yeah, so your first hit when you're using Gloomfang won't do as much damage, but every hit that chains after that will. And Gloomfang gives you at least +1 to chain, so it guarantees that you're getting that once. So your first hit won't be quite as good as what it used to be, but from then on out, every hit will be better than what it used to be. So that's nice. So again, the more stacked chains you have, the more damage you got. That's the good news. So here's the thing. Do you guys see this list? This is the list for all the unique items. My dog is walking around. Is he going to pee on me? Puppy. Let's go to your seat, bud. Let's go to your seat. Come on. Come on. Good boy. So here's the thing. They give us this list. Grinding Gear Games gives us this list of unique items. I appreciate this. They're telling us the unique items, what they used to be, and what they will be. This is a lot of information, right? It's a lot. But they're giving it to us. In the format of, this is what it used to be, this is what it now will be. By the way, here's Wings of Entropy. Now an Ezomite Axe base type, though existing items remain on a Sundering Axe, now grants a 7 to 10% chance to block spell hits, up from 6 to 7. 8% chance to block attack hits, up from 8. Has 75 to 100 to 165 to 200 added fire damage for main hand attacks, and 75 to 100 to 165 to 200 added chaos for offhand attacks. It now has 60 to 80% increased physical damage, down from 100 to 120 due to the change in base type. Existing versions of this item can be updated to new values with a Divine Orb. So I like that they've given us all of this information. They gave it to us for the uniques. Why not for the passive tree? Is it because this number would go up to like 21k words? Is that why? What's funny is that the complaints would probably be something like, if they gave us everything, like, hey, why is Harvest 21k words? Why didn't they just give us pictures or a JSON file, right? Either way, GGG's always going to have people unhappy with them, right? That's when you're successful and you have enough people following what you do, you're going to upset somebody all the time. That's just the reality of it. It's the reality of it. I can sympathize with that. I just don't like being the group that's upset about it. Don't like being in that category. Alright, Starforge. Here we go. Starforge now has 200 to 300% increased physical damage, down from 400 to 500. Now gains a 30% increased global physical damage implicit by default. Overriding the base type, existing items can be ruthlessly brought back into a reasonable balance state with a Divine Orb. Yeah, that's a pretty big nerf. Shattered Chains can no longer drop. Rot and Standard. Split Personality, now limited to 2. Yep. What's going on with the Savior? Mirage Warriors have been renamed Mirage Saviors to differentiate them from those created by the General's Cry. Why? I mean, we can just call them warriors, right? Copies? They're mirror warriors? Whatever. Strike skills used by Mirage Saviors cannot hit additional targets. Okay. So that's why you won't use the Savior with a strike skill. This affects all existing versions of the item. This change is required to maintain server performance, as builds using the Savior with certain strike skills were causing enough calculations to put noticeable strain on the servers. It was accidentally missed in the development manifesto. Okay, that's fair. Check out Fevered Minds. Where is Fevered Minds? No longer increases the mana cost of skills by 50%. No longer grants 30 to 40% increased spell damage. Okay, they're reworking it. Now causes notable passive skills and radius to be transformed to instead grant 10% increased mana cost of skills and 20% increased spell damage. Now has a small radius. Existing versions of this item are not affected by these changes. It is now also limited to 1, which does not affect existing versions of the item. Okay, so to get the same max percentages... To get the same max percentages as what a single Fevered Mind used to give you. A single Fevered Mind used to give you 50% increased mana cost, and let's say it's perfect, 40% increased spell damage. To get that same level of power for one Fevered Mind, you now need to spend five passive points in order to give you the mana cost. But to be fair, those 5 passive points will give you 100% increased spell damage. Okay, that... Gotta say this after yesterday's Fevered Mind reveal, that Fevered Mind was getting changed. That looks a lot better than just leaving Fevered Mind as it was. I'm still not going, hey, I'm going to go out and build a Fevered Mind build with it now. I still don't understand why it needed to be changed. But now that it's changed and I can see where it's going, I can go, okay, I can see how you might still use it in comparison with what it used to be. Should I make that my league goal, guys? Oh, it's notable passive skills. Guys, you guys are brilliant. 5 noticeable? Oh my gosh. That's even worse. I was just going to say, okay, I can go try to make a build with it. Well, I'll make that a challenge this league. Yeah, you're going to have like 2. You're going to have 2 notables that are going to give you 20% increased mana skills and 40%. Oh my gosh, that's so bad. Fevered Mind is so bad now. Okay, it's fine. It doesn't affect my league starter. It doesn't affect anything. It's just it's another balance decision. It's another balance decision that I'm just like, okay. I don't get it. I don't have to get it. GGG doesn't have to explain anything to me. I'm a customer of their game. I love their game. I'm going to keep playing their game. But some of the changes are interesting, and I don't always get them, and that's okay. A lot of this stuff is way above my head anyway. It's way above my balding geriatric head anyway. The Poet's Pen. Improved behavior around animation canceling. Now works similarly to Spellslinger support. Hey! Did they do that for Flicker Strike? So now Flicker Strike won't accidentally cancel your own animation? Guess only Summoner not affected by the changes and might be a buff due to Warcry? Yeah, it's a buff due to Warcry. As a Summoner, I'm looking at those Warcries and I'm instantly like, hey, how can I use this? SRS with the Infernal Warcry, the Fire Warcry. I think that's going to be a thing. I think that'll be a thing. Whether or not you want to league start with it to try it out, that's up to you. But I think that's going to be a thing. I might even recommend an SRS build as a league starter. I might do that this league. People are tagging me on our Discord like oh man. Oh man. Alright, monster changes. Due to a number of changes making it much easier to reliably stun tougher enemies, many bosses are now immune to stun while stunned, and for a short time after the stun ends. The base distance an enemy is knocked back by knockback effects is now based on the enemy's size. Smaller enemies are knocked further back than large enemies. Okay, interesting. The Man Tracker monster in Hunter-influenced maps now spread their spit attacks out rather than all spitting at once. It is now correctly categorized as an attack and will be mitigated as such. Okay, cool. Monsters which deal extra chaos damage, many of whom are encountered in a breach, now say so beneath their nameplate. Note that this does not change the balance of these monsters. Okay, it's just communication. Hey, this thing does chaos damage. It's good to know. Abyss changes. The area transition to an Abyssal Depths area now becomes interactable more quickly after appearing. The monsters, crystals, and other boss encounter elements are now destroyed when Amanamu is defeated. Alright, cool. So you don't have to worry about the crystals exploding and killing you after you beat the boss. Betrayal changes. Elrion's Unholy Relic and Sentinel minions now die when Elrion is defeated. Cool. So actually they're removing some of the on-death effects. That's cool. That's... Hey! That's a buff. This is a buff. This should read, this is a buff. Unholy Relics summoned by Immortal Syndicate members who possess Boo's Bottle now disappear when that member is defeated. Ground effects created by Immortal Syndicate members will likewise disappear when the associated member is defeated. You can now quick move items between your inventory and the various Betrayal safe house benches. Oh, cool. You can control click them now. That's nice. You don't have to drop and drag. Atlas and map changes. Map tiers and locations have been shuffled, though the pin locations for maps has not changed. Most maps are now initially found at a different tier. Unique maps have not moved or changed tiers, improved the responsiveness of Cirrus's storms to phase transitions, improved the layouts of the spider layer map to minimize backtracking. Zana can now send you on a mission to find and activate a Legion monolith. That's cool. That's very cool. Zana League. Yep. Alright, so it's going to be a Headhunter League because Nemesis is around. It costs 4 chaos. We got Anarchy for 2, Breach for 2, Ambush for 3, Nemesis for 4, Harbinger for 4, so that means Ancient Orbs will also be cheaper this league. Metamorph for 5, and Legion for 6. I wonder if Legion encounters are going to go up in price or down in price because so many of the highly desired and highly used Legion Timeless Jewels are now on the passive tree. UI improvements. Oil costs for notable passive trees can now be revealed by holding Alt while hovering over a passive. Thank you. That's very good. We like that. Map icons in the Map Stash tab will now display which Atlas region they are in when hovered over. Thank you. We like that. The Stash tab list no longer closes after you select a tab. Hey, nice. Added the ability to hide, remove only Stash tabs. Hey, that's very nice. Alright, quest rewards. Enduring Cry. Okay, so these are all the gem updates of where we can get the new gems. Okay, it's good to know. Fist of War is now offered to the Marauder, Duelist, and Templar for completing in Act 4. Okay, Eternal Nightmare, same for Arcanist Brand. Swift Brand support is Fixture of Fate. Armageddon Brand is now offered to the Witch for completing Sever the Right Hand. Okay, interesting. PvP changes. Not going to read them. Don't play PoE for PvP. We really hope you enjoy Path of Exile Harvest. Thank you for your support. Alright. Wow, it's already got 17 pages of comments. Ha! Thank you for making things more challenging, GGG. Don't hold anything against these crying kids. They expect everything to be handed to them. Yes. Yes, I'm a crying child. That's funny. Spoiler. Whee! Made you click the spoiler. Hey, there's Gazzy. Nice troll there, Gazzy. Oh, that's funny. That's essentially losing the game, right? If you click the spoiler, you lost the game. Alright. Oh, my starter build was destroyed. Uh-oh. That's a bummer. I'm not sure what your starter build was that got destroyed. I don't think a lot of things got destroyed here. You're waking up in 9 hours. Oh, man, I better get to bed. I don't feel like a lot of stuff got destroyed. I feel like Archmage... Okay, if you were starting with Archmage, it got nerfed. If you were looking to do Storm Brands, they got nerfed. I am going to have... I can tell you guys this. I personally am going to have a tremendous day tomorrow while I am looking around at different builds and perusing different builds to recommend to you guys as a community for starters. So that is what I will be doing all day tomorrow, is searching and combing and reading through different forum guides that are actually going to get updated and are being updated, and then get you guys 6 league starters that you guys can choose from for Path of Exile Harvest. It is, of course, June 16th. We are only a couple days away. It's Friday that Harvest comes out. So make sure you get time in with your family, get all your chores done, get all your work at work done, and then this weekend, let's come play some Path of Exile together. I'm going to be streaming on Friday and Saturday. That is my plan. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hopefully you have enjoyed the rants and the feedback, the reactions, the live responses. I have enjoyed hanging out with all of you guys. And honestly, I would not read patch notes, and I would not stream at all if it were not for you guys interacting and having a great time with me. So please never take any of my passion as anything other than that, as I love this game. I enjoy this game. I don't think I will ever move on from this game. This game would have to do so many things wrong for several years for me to move on from Path of Exile. Path of Exile has got its hooks sunk deeply into me. So if I'm ever upset about something in Path of Exile, like communication and the way how passives are being communicated tonight, it's because I really like the game and I want to interact with it better. It's not because I want to walk away from the game. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us for our patch notes reading for Path of Exile Harvest. The rest of this week, we've got new builds and recommended builds coming out. That's going to be Thursday morning if you're US time. Friday, we've got the league launch. We will be streaming that. And I have got a special outfit planned for that day. I can't go into any more details. Just know that it'll be special. I hope that Mathel and I did not coordinate the same outfit for league launch day, but we'll find out. And then, what else? Oh, next week we will probably have some guides coming out on how to harvest and how to interact with your garden. Other things that you may want to know. Thanks so much for joining us. If you want to support the channel, you can do so with our Patreon link. That's included down below. If you want to send us a one-time tip, you can give us a super chat during one of our live stream sessions, or you can drop us a PayPal. I'm going to go take my puppy and go for a walk. Come here, pup. Come here, boy. Look at my poor puppy. Oh, my poor puppy. Oh, this poor guy. My poor puppy. My poor puppy had to go in for his surgery. He had to go in. He had to go in and get fixed, my poor puppy. I'm going to go take him for a nice, gentle walk. Not a long walk, just a nice, gentle walk. And I'm going to carry him down the stairs so he doesn't have to go down the stairs himself. Anyway, have a good rest of your night, everybody. Hopefully the rest of your night goes even better than what we've been doing. And I hope that 3.11 Harvest League is the league that a Mirror of Calandra will drop for you.